What's up, guys? Coming back at you with 4 more releases from 2022 that I feel like you guys need to check out. I've got a nice little assortment this week, and I know sometimes it feels like I kind of focus entirely on either death metal or black metal. Those are in here, obviously, but I did try to mix it up and give you guys a little taste of a few different genres as well in this week's video. We've got one more after this week. You guys seem to be enjoying this series. I've been enjoying doing it. After my little hiatus that I have coming up, I may jump back on this series in a little bit different fashion, but I've been enjoying doing this. It kind of is a little bit of a throwback to the 7 Deadly Spins videos. So you guys like this, I like doing it, so we'll tweak it a little bit in the future, and we will revisit Four-saken Fridays. Just going to jump right into it. The first album that I'm going to show is kind of a cop-out. I'm sure most of you guys have already heard this and have heard it plenty of times already. I have some New York death metal for you guys. We have Undeath with their, I think this came out back in April, release entitled It's Time to Rise from the Grave. Fantastic release. This is the follow-up to 2020's Legions of a Different Kind. That album kind of burst forth Undeath onto the scene. It garnered them all types of attention, and I know I was excited for this release, as I know a lot of other people were very excited for this follow-up, and it did not disappoint at all. As you can see, it's not the original case that this came in true Prosthetic Records fashion. They sent this in a little flimsy bubble mailer that was like 2 sizes too big, and the CD itself just got obliterated in the mail. The case got obliterated, so I had to swap it out into a new jewel case. So that's why my copy may look a little bit different than some of yours. In case you've been living under a rock somewhere, Undeath is like this mix of brutal death metal and old school death metal. As far as like old school death metal, kind of think of bands like Suffocation. The Suffocation influence is there. Malevolent Creation, Cannibal Corpse. There is definite Cannibal Corpse vibes going on in this, all the way to the vocals. You have some of the Corpse Grinder-esque gutturals going on. That's kind of the vocal style throughout this album. Just chunky, cavernous death metal done absolutely perfectly. It's 10 tracks, about 35 minutes, so it definitely flies by. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I think the brevity of the album definitely does it a positive, because it just leaves you thirsting for more once this is over. I'm excited to see where this band goes from here. I know this is kind of a style of American death metal that has caused some especially like European death metal fans, that a lot of people don't like this style, but I dig it. Like this, I know 200 Stab Wounds is another one, kind of this just groovy, chunky, just nasty, gnarly stuff, but I love it. I can't get enough of it. My favorite tracks on this are all towards the front of the album. It may be a little, if you say like you have this on vinyl, the side A portion of the record may be a little stronger, but there's not really any skippable tracks for me on this. Track number 4, Necrobionics, is probably one of the catchiest death metal tracks I've ever heard in my life. Fantastic stuff from Undeath. So if you haven't checked this one out and you've been putting it off for some reason, unbeknownst to me, definitely check this one out. It is probably ranking up there with one of my most listened to albums of the year so far, because I've played that over and over and over. That's why it felt like a bit of a cop-out to even put it in this video, because I'm sure a lot of you have already heard that. If you haven't, shame on you. You definitely need to hear that. So take it from me. It's in the description. Go check that one out. Next up, changing gears completely, we have some stoner doom metal out of Washington State. This is a band that I featured back on this channel, I think in 2019. This was a band that was featured in the 7 Deadly Spins series with their debut EP entitled Kiss the Ring. This is their debut full-length entitled Oh Great Moon. This is from the band Mount Saturn. If you know me at all, especially in my taste of doom metal, you know I'm a sucker for these Black Sabbathy doomy bands with the female vocals, and that's the only way I know to put this. It's Sabbath rips with this kind of low toned, intoxicating female vocals on top of it. I love this album. It's 6 tracks, about 40 minutes, which is a bit short of a runtime for a doom metal album, but it works, especially with the vocal styles on this. The brevity of the album, the 40 minutes, definitely keeps it from overstaying its welcome, keeps it from becoming monotonous or sounding all the same. The structure of the album is absolutely brilliant. The bookend tracks, the first track and the last track, are my favorite tracks. And then there's a track stuck right in the middle that kind of tugs at your heartstrings that is just a perfect placement. The track in the middle is entitled Sandcrosser. That one is probably one of the more emotional tracks on the album. I need to find the lyrics to this somewhere. If anyone could help me out with that, I would love to be able to find a lyric sheet for all of these tracks, because the first track, Estrella, I believe is how you pronounce that, is one of those that you can just kind of get lost to. You dim the lights, let it play either in your headphones or on your stereo, just kick back, and it's just one of those albums that you could just lose yourself to. And as I was mentioning, the kind of middle track, Sandcrosser, that's one that's just a very emotional track. And then the very last track that I was talking about, as far as the bookend tracks, is entitled Crooked Bones. And with this track, this is the first time that I really felt like an aggressiveness pushing through from Mount Saturn. It was something I was a bit taken aback at first, just from the sheer aggressiveness of the track. There are some shrieks going on in that, kind of caught me off guard, but I like it. I would love to see this band explore that sound a little bit more. Definitely brought a bit of change of pace and kind of piques your interest right as the album is coming to a close. So killer stuff here from Mount Saturn. If you're into stoner doom, Sabbathy doom with those female vocals, I think you will love this album just as much as I do. Next up, we have a demo. This is a debut raw black metal project out of California here in the U.S. It's kind of tagged as atmospheric black metal. That's a bit tough tag for me to justify. It's 6 tracks, but there's an intro and an outro, so really it's about 4 tracks. The tracks themselves run about 20 minutes, not counting the intro. 20 minutes total, not each track. It is an EP. The entire EP clocks in at 22 minutes. It is tagged as atmospheric black metal, but it doesn't have that feel that I've come to know and associate with atmospheric black metal. Yes, atmospheres are present on this release, especially within the intro and the outro, but it leans much more to a raw sound of black metal. This is Chamber of Mirrors with Apocalyptic Dream. This was released back in February. It was a self-release from, there's one member of this project. It's a one-man project. The member goes by the name Mortem. As you can see, I got copy number 10. This was limited to 50 copies, and it sold out so fast, just because I think people were discovering this through, I don't know if Bandcamp just did this project a favor. I don't know what it was, just for the fact that this is such a great little EP. Those 50 copies flew by. They sold out super quick. Don't worry, if you check this out and you like it, there has been at least one reissue that I know. There are copies available right now on Bandcamp, so I didn't want to show something and be like, well, I like it, but there's no way for you to get it. So it is definitely still available if you check this out and you do enjoy it. As I said, there is an intro and outro to this, but the first actual track, entitled Bed of Thorns, is probably the strongest track on this entire release. You kind of get that venom, like you can feel the singer, despite having the kind of raw tin can vocals, there is a venom and a viscosity to his vocals that he's able to spit out, just hate driven vocals, and you definitely can kind of get that feeling from that. With the kind of atmospheres that are built into this, there are some deep kind of melancholy emotions going on within this as well. There are definitely some nice riffs, some catchy, memorable moments. There are even, dare I say, some melodic moments going on in this EP as well. I dig this quite a bit. Feels a bit frosty to be a release coming out of California, but I do dig this, and I think you guys should check that one out as well. Changing gears again, as I said, I wanted to kind of to mix this up and highlight a lot of different things within this particular video. We have a progressive. This one's tough to pinpoint into a particular genre. This is a band out of Baltimore, Maryland. They are tagged as progressive metal / progressive death metal. If you're into gent type music, there's some of that present on this album. I guess I'll show you the band and we'll get into that. This is Wait with The End of Noise. The band name Wait is short for, or I guess a acronym for We Are in Transit. This is their debut full length. It came out in February on Artisan Era Records. 7 tracks, runs about 50 minutes, so it has a bit long playtime on this, and it is very progressive. There's a lot of different ideas going on within this album, but they do seem to work. If you're into gent, if you're kind of like me and you can appreciate gent, but something about it irks you sometimes, this might be something a bit more up your alley. The jazzy type moments are definitely there, but they're kind of slowed down and set to these grooves. If that makes any sense to you whatsoever, it's, as I was saying, very progressive, but it's quite original, and I'm digging what these guys are doing here. The vocals on this are a mix of clean vocals, which are done fairly well. Then you have some growls, some grunts, and definitely the gutturals, the death metal gutturals are prevalent on this, and it's all the same vocalists. The 4 kind of different styles of vocals on this are all done by one person, so that's kind of a plus there, that he's able to pull off those different sounds, and they all sound great. He's able to pull them off in a way that actually work on the release. They kind of strike me as different as some different than other kind of progressive type metal bands, and the fact that they are able to develop, they get one riff and then they kind of structure an entire song around that one riff. You have that guitar riff going, and then every instrument and even the vocals to a certain extent are completely morphed and pick up almost that same riff and work, and they're able to stretch that out throughout an entirety of a song. They have some shorter tracks on here, and they have some longer tracks. The longer tracks kind of work out that riff and stretch it out and kind of take you on this journey, like up and down, and take you in a way that they're able to express an idea and just kind of let it go to fruition. If they were to do that on every single track, I think this album may become a little mundane. It may become a little boring, but the fact that they're able to sprinkle in those shorter tracks that are concise and to the point and keep you wondering where they're going next, I think it works as a definite plus for this release. The first 2 tracks on this album are my favorite 2 tracks. Half Funeral, the first track, has a lot of clean vocals, but they're done quite well. And it's one of these shorter tracks, and it's a very concise, just to the point track. And it's followed up by Earth's Last Orbit. And that's one of those tracks that they take the riff and then they structure an entire song. Every instrument is based around that one guitar riff, and they structure the song completely after that. It's kind of hard to put this album into words because it is so progressive. It's definitely different than a lot of things that I tend to listen to. It kind of feels like the band Atheist and the band Cynic had a baby, and both of those bands are kind of right here levels for me, and this kind of elevates above that. So it's kind of able to take the best parts of those 2 bands, add in some grooves, throw in some melodies, and you get something like this. Definitely check this one out if you have not done so. Artisan Era is one of those labels that puts out surprisingly some great albums. They have some stuff that I'm not really into, but I catch me off guard releasing stuff like this, and it seems like they do it quite often. So definitely check out Wait. It may be a little too progressive for some of you, but it is definitely something that I can get behind. So as always, all 4 of these releases are down in the description. There will be Bandcamp links. I think all of those have a Bandcamp, so I will do the Bandcamp links for those. I have one more of these videos that I will do, and that will be it for the series. As far as the 2022 only releases go, we will revisit the idea once I get moved and settled. I will have a video up very soon explaining the move and the channel future and all of that good stuff. So that's all I've got for today. Come back on Sunday. On Sunday, we'll have the CD collection as I've been doing, and I may have a few little extra videos thrown here and sprinkled in here and there that I've recorded ahead of time as well. But that's all I've got for today. Stay classy, stay metal, and I will see you guys very soon. I promise.